Hi, my name is Diane Nitzel, and this is my new horse, Tucker. Tucker is a rescue from a kill pen down in Texas, and so I just acquired him this summer. I haven't done a whole lot with him yet, but he does have a few issues. One of them is he's not super fond of anybody touching him up here by his ears, and he has a hind leg. He's not super great with his feet. He gets a little bit, he's picking up now, but he'll kind of only let you hold it for so long before he decides he wants to put it down. And then his right hind, some days he's not too thrilled with me picking it up. So anyway, just a little bit about me. I am a graduate of the Kirkwood Horse Program. I got an associate's degree in horse science. I trained for an Arabian farm for a few years and then went off on my own. And during that time, I also got involved in the Pirelli program. I am a level 4 graduate of the Pirelli program. And so I thought it might be kind of fun as I work with Tucker to kind of show you some of the things that I do with him and the progress that he makes in overcoming some of his issues. I would consider him to be a right-brain introvert, if anybody knows anything about the Pirelli personalities. He's kind of your typical wallflower. He's kind of shy. He is very skeptical and not very trusting. So there's some of the things that I'm going to work on today is what we call our friendly game. And it's basically a game that we use to help the horse get confident in its surroundings and in the handler as well. So I will commence to show you some of the things that I'm going to do with him tonight. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do with the friendly game is we're just going to play a little bit with the throwing the rope over his back. So he's not too bad with this. We're just going to take the rope and just kind of fling it over his back. You kind of want to be careful not to like slap him with the end of the rope. Just kind of give it an extra little push. And then we can kind of fling it around his legs, see how he is with that. Okay. And then whatever we do to one side, we always want to do to the other. So I'm going to do this to this side. Okay. All right, and then the next thing I'm going to do, this might give him a little bit more reaction out of him, because I'm going to play with my carrot stick and string. And maybe if the cat will leave it alone. Okay. So first thing you want to do with the stick and string is you just want to rub him all over with it, just to make sure that he's okay, doesn't have any issues with that. He was when I first started playing with him, he was a little bit skeptical of the stick. And then this is just kind of upping the ante just a little bit, so I'm just going to take the stick and string and kind of fling it. So it's kind of like two horses hanging out, swishing flies. So with the friendly game, you just want to this is what we call rhythmic motion. So there's really no intention behind it. I'm not really asking him to move. I'm just kind of using a little bit of rhythm. Okay, and he might move around a little bit. So if he does, we just kind of keep up doing it a little bit until he stops. Oops, and then I just missed my cue there. Okay, there. So he stopped. So I'm going to take all the pressure off. Licking and chewing is good. That means they're kind of releasing some tension. They're kind of mulling over in their head what just happened. And usually that's a good sign that they are relax. So a tense horse will usually tense up their jaw and you won't really get any licking and chewing. Okay, so then the next thing I can do is kind of, this is going to probably bother him a little bit more. So he's not too sure about this. So I'm just going to kind of keep him in a spot, but as soon as he stands still, I take all the pressure away. So then now I get some licking and chewing again. Boy. Rub him a little bit with my stick. Let him know we're cool. Okay, and then I'm just gonna do it again. So now this time, he was a lot better about that. Oops, sorry. Didn't quite get it over his back. Okay, I'm gonna do it again. Okay, if he moves, I'm just gonna keep it up until he stands still. Good boy. Good boy. And then maybe just kind of throw it over his back again. So basically, by stopping when he stops, you're rewarding him for standing still. If you were to stop doing the motion while he was moving, you've basically just taught him to keep moving. Okay, that's what gets him the release from the pressure. Well, actually, the motion, because there's really no pressure behind it. So that kind of thing works really well with things like bathing your horse and stuff. So if you get the water on them and they're moving around, you want to keep, you can lessen it so it's not quite so intimidating. But just kind of keep at it a little bit until they stand still. The second they stand still, the quicker you can release, the better. And then just stand there, kind of let them relax for a second and kind of think a little bit about what just happened. And usually it doesn't take very long for them to figure it out that standing still is the way to get the thing that they don't like to stop. Okay. And then actually gives them a little bit of confidence in that, because then they feel like they have a little bit of control over what, how that, making that go away. Okay. So the second thing I'm going to do, now that I've kind of played a little bit with our stick and string, is I'm going to see if I can get him to put his nose on something. So I've got a barrel over here, so I'm just going to bring him over here. And I'm just going to ask him to come forward. And, good boy, good boy. So I played with this yesterday for the first time, and it took me a little while to get him to do that. If there's a little bit of something good involved when he does it, it really helps them to figure out that that's the thing that you wanted them to do. Okay, so now we're gonna try the cone. I'm just gonna bring him over here. And the cone yesterday was a little bit harder. So I'm just gonna keep asking him to go towards the cone. I'm gonna focus on the cone so that he wants to put his foot on it, which is okay. That's cool. Boy. Not quite what I was looking for, but that's all right. Oh, good boy, good boy, good boy. Okay, so we got our foot on the cone. Okay. So now I'm going to go over here and see if I can get him to put his nose on one of these little electric fence posts. So I'm just going to kind of direct him. He's a little bit worried about the wall. He doesn't seem to like the wall too well. Good boy. So if he gets worried, I'm going to let him back up. So he approached it, got to a threshold, and then once he hits that threshold, I'm going to allow him to back up. Each time he backs up, he's gaining a little bit more confidence. So that time he got a little bit closer. Good boy. Okay, so I'm just going to ask him again. Okay, so he's telling me that was a threshold. I'm going to back up. And then I'm going to allow him to reapproach. Can you touch it? Oh, there he touched it. Good. Good boy.
Yep.
Okay, now we're going to approach the green ball. We'll do the same thing. Just going to keep offering it to him. Good boy. Good boy. So now he's kind of figured out, it didn't take him very long to figure out that putting his nose on things is going to get him a reward. And part of the reason why we do this is that it does help a horse become more confident. Okay, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to see if I can get him to do some half circles along the wall. Previously, getting him to put his nose close to the wall has been a trick, and he's starting to get a lot better about it now. So I'm going to see if I can get him to put his nose on that post. Okay. So part of getting him to put his nose on things is to focus on what I want him to put his nose on. Horses are masters at knowing a predator's focus. And by focusing on the spot that I want him to put his nose, good boy, good boy. Will help him understand what it is I'm trying to get him to do. Good boy. Okay, now I'm going to see if he'll put his nose on one of those white PVC poles. Getting close. Okay, if he wants to back up, I'm going to allow him to back up. So I'm just going to kind of keep pestering him until he tries. Getting really close, but doesn't quite want to do it. So I'm using the term good boy. It's called a bridge. So when I say good boy, then he gets a treat, and then over time, then I can just give him the verbal cue, good boy, and he knows he's done well, and I don't necessarily have to give him a treat. So that'll just, the good boy will be his reward. He knows that he did what I wanted him to do. So this game that we played where I have him put his nose on things is called the Touch It game. And so it's kind of a fun little game that you can play with your horse that will really help build confidence in your horse and his environment. So that's it for today. Check back and we will try to be putting out some of these videos a little bit more frequently. So have a good week.
Kitty pile.